Hey, it's Cindy here, and I forgot to mention this in my last video. I have a blog now. It's about corruption, and yeah, that stuff. Now that I have my computer back, I'm gonna try to post on it a lot more. So that's pretty exciting. A new website. Like on my website, I'm pretty much going to be talking about like money and politics, and my most recent entry, it was like last week or a couple weeks ago, that I was talking about terrorism and fear-mongering, because those two go hand in hand, and I can't stand either of them. Like, I pretty much talked about how, like, Islam is the second most common religion in the world. And if every Muslim person was a radical like ISIS and Al-Qaeda and stuff, we'd already probably be all dead because of the sheer number of Muslims. Like, there's like 1.3 million Muslims on Earth right now. Like, and then I personally just cannot stand fear-mongering at all. As you guys know, I have generalized anxiety disorder, and because of that, I can't always help that I get paranoid over certain things. Like, if I get really nervous about something, I can try to logic my way out of it all I want, but it doesn't help. And I have a past senator that I mentioned in my update video. His name is Norm Coleman. He is one of the most fear-mongering politicians ever. And he's a chairman of the American Action Network. Yeah, if you guys have heard of that group, I hate it. He likes to post on there, and he's like, if you look in the blog and on the American Action Network website, he's like, oh yeah, I strongly support American exceptionalism. Oh, we should definitely fight the terrorists before they come here. And then, like, on the Minnesota Action Network, because of course there's a branch off the American Action Network for Minnesota, since he was my senator here, he was just like, who knows? They could come back to Minneapolis. Perhaps your town or city. It's like, really? Like, oh my god. He's like, I'm just glad that he's not my senator anymore. Thank God. He's more of a joke than the comedian we put in office, the one that replaced him. I'm not the biggest fan of Al Franken, but he's a lot better than Norm Coleman. Just saying. And I'm just going to be discussing a lot of political topics that really get under my skin, pretty much, if you're interested in that kind of thing. And it'll definitely have, like, a Minnesota twist on things, because I was born and raised here in Minnesota, and I have been to other states, but not really enough to know much about their politics, you know? Like, I guess I could do a lot of research online, which I probably will do, just so I attract more people to the blog than just people from Minnesota. But Minnesota, our politics is the thing that I know the best, and the just national politics. But there are a few governors that are in office right now that I can so picture myself ranting about on my blog, like Scott Walker, for example. Oh my god. Don't even get me started on how much I don't like Scott Walker. Oh god. I've been to Wisconsin millions of times because I've lived in eastern Minnesota my whole life. Like, first I lived in Duluth, and then I moved up on the Iron Range for a bit, for like a year. And then I moved back to Duluth. I lived in Edina, another suburb of Minneapolis, for a while. And now I live here, where I am now. And while I lived in Duluth, my hometown, I've been to Wisconsin more times than I can even count. And because of that, I've grown to really love Wisconsin. Wisconsin is a pretty awesome state. And I don't really like sports, so I don't really care about the whole Vikings versus Packers thing. It's like, I just don't like football, so. But yeah, Scott Walker. I hate him. Like, I really do feel like he's ruining Wisconsin. But there's not much I can do about it because I live here in Minnesota. All I can do is hope that the Wisconsinites are smart enough to vote him out if he wants to run for a third term, which I heard he's hinting at. And plus, Wisconsin and Minnesota, we're like, people often just lump us together because our states are so similar. And then another governor that I really don't like is Paul LePage, the governor of Maine. I can picture myself ranting about him. I don't really like the governors of North Carolina and Mississippi, Phil Bryant and Pat McCrory. Yeah, those are their names. I don't really like those two either because of their stupid anti-LGBT law. Because in my opinion, everyone should be equal. So I'm probably going to be ranting about those guys too. I'm going to do a lot of ranting about politicians that I don't like. Yeah, but that's just how I roll. And I'm already sure that I'm on some kind of government watch list because of that video that I made in support of Edward Snowden. Which I still do 100% support, by the way. I just want him to come home and be safe and not have to get arrested. But the chances of that happening are slim to none at this point, which is very unfortunate. I really want him to come home and just be home without having to worry about being arrested. But that's not going to happen. So yeah.